As many of you know, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I work a lot with a flexible shaft tool. Now, my flexible shaft is an old Dremel unit, and it came with this particular handpiece, which uses collet chucks, a collet chuck. And unfortunately, I can only find one collet for my flexible shaft. It happens to kind of fit 1/8" accessories. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck getting them in and out, just a little tight. But it's been working fine for me that way for years. But there comes a time when you want to put maybe a little bit smaller or larger pieces in your flexible shaft, and the collets just ain't going to cut it, especially not having the correct size collet. So I went looking online, and I found that Foredom, a company that makes really good high-end flexible shaft tools, they make this handpiece. This is their number 30 that has an actual Jacob's chuck with a real key and everything, and you can put just about anything into this. Well, anything that will fit into that chuck will work just fine. So I went ahead and I bought one, and that was really important for what I was doing on this machine. This Featherweight is in for a major service. It's owned by one of the women who happens to sew at Mouse Creek Quilts in Howell, New Jersey. It's a quilt store where my wife and I twice a year teach a featherweight maintenance class. Anyway, when this one came in, as you can see, I've got her pretty well apart and working on cleaning her out at this point. But the lower thread guide, which is the one just above the upper thread tension unit, was cracked right here. And it was cracked in such a way that it was barely holding on. And all I had to do was go blip, and it broke and came right off and left me with just a little stub here. So what to do, what to do, what to do? Well, I never claimed to be an expert on anything, and sometimes I get a little, I doubt myself sometimes on how I'm going to do something. And when I do, I've got a network of people I can talk to. One of those in my network is my dear friend Jennifer from Sewing Machine Rehab. So I called Jen up and I'm like, Jen, what would you do in this circumstance? And she does a lot of featherweights, so I figured, she's a good resource. I'll talk to her. Anyway, she kind of laughed at me a little bit, and she goes, well, I just buy a new one. I'm like, great, I know, but how do you get these out? She's like, you pretty much don't. And she's right, they don't want to come out. Carmen from the Featherweight shop has a video on their website which shows how he does these. And essentially, I'll link the video down below so you can see the whole thing. I'll just give you the Reader's Digest version. What he generally winds up doing is cutting the old broken one pretty much flush with the inside of the casting here, and then using a punch and a hammer, he drives it down, because this is hollowed out, and there's enough room to drive that down about 1/4 inch or so, and then put the new a new thread guide on. Now, and he even admits this is a one-time repair. You can only do this once. There's not enough room using their using a replacement guide to do this a second time. Well, I wanted something a little bit more elegant of a solution than that. So rather than spending the money at the Featherweight shop buying a legit guide that's a one-time repair, I wanted to be able to set this up so that if anything broke again, it could be fixed again. So I went on McMaster-Carr's website and I bought a tube of 15 pieces, 12 inches long, of 80 thousandths 3/16 stainless steel wire. Now this stuff is a little on the soft side, which is great, which makes it relatively easy to bend, but it's still very sturdy, and as you'll hear, it's got enough stiffness to it that it'll work fine in this application. So I followed Carmen's instructions. I got this broken off flush, which was easy to do. I grabbed it with a pair of needle nose pliers, twisted it to get it to come off, and it snapped right away. Took a punch, drove it down as far as I could get it, and then I cut a piece of 80 thousandths stainless steel, the 3/16 stainless steel wire, about 1.5 inches long. I made the appropriate bends. which is leaving a tail about 1/4 of an inch long to go into that hole, about 1/4 of an inch to make the turn here, and then a little about an inch or so coming out. And then it was a little bit more massaging than that because I wanted to get this so that it was squarer than what it initially was coming up. Took a little bit of gentle tapiology. I used a piece of 1/8 inch steel as an anvil doing some tapping. I'm not going to demonstrate the process because you don't want to hear the profanity that came out of me as I was working out the perfect guide. But suffice it to say, I was able to make it work. I then polished up the far end so that there was nothing sharp. But the problem is the 80 thousandths wasn't going to go in the hole. Hence why I put the the drill chuck on here. Now, a number 45 gauge drill bit is 82 thousandths in diameter, which gives you a nice, reasonable slip fit to get this in. So, bracing my hand on the machine, bracing the handpiece appropriately, I was able to very carefully guide the drill bit, spinning in the handpiece, into the machine, and just open up that hole, that first 1/4 of an inch, till I hit the old pin up to 82 thousandths. Now my 80 thousandths piece of wire fit in there really nice with just enough slop so that I could move it around. Like Carmen recommends, I tilted the machine on her butt, put in a drop of super glue. Now I used this stuff. I used a thick super glue, a gel type. Put just a drop in there, put my bent piece of wire in, got it in position, held it for a couple of minutes, and it's been stable now for quite some time. It's not going anywhere. However, if this ever gets damaged and has to come out, that can be removed. Get a little super glue solvent in there, which I don't know if it's acetone or something similar, whatever the stuff is that they sell for removing super glue. Just get it on there with a needle oiler. That should be able to break it up, and you can be able to extract this piece in the future if it ever needs to happen. I doubt that will ever be the case. This 80 thousandths wire is going to be plenty strong. And by the way, yes, it fits fine, doesn't interfere, the front cover doesn't interfere, everything is going to be honky-dory. But anyway, I wanted to show you how I did that. It's obvious as to why. I'll have links for the 80 thousandths and the number 45, the 45 gauge drill bit down below. I'll have links for all this crap I talked about. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. That's it for this particular video, for this quick tip, which, I don't know, this is a little over 8 minutes, so I don't know how quick that actually is. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.